Hello, in this video, I'll show you how you can easily quickly edit your images when it comes to Photoshop regarding skin retouching and color grading for outdoor images. And in case you want to download this raw image to follow along, simply check the link in the video description to download this raw image to follow along with this very kind of tutorial. So for this, after importing the raw image in Photoshop, it is going to automatically be opened up in the camera raw filter. So for this, just going to correct the lighting and contrast issues regarding this very photo. So for this, I'll just come and decrease my highlights and the whites just like this to remove the white cast on the skin tone. Then I'll come and add blacks to the image and open up the shadows of this very image, and I'll simply come and add contrast to the image around 14 or about 16. Then I'll warm up the image by taking up the temperature slider just like this to get to a white balance that I desire. So in case the image is too orange, you can move the slider towards the blue side. So after this, I'll scroll down the color mixer, and in color mixer, we have hue, saturation, and luminance. Hue is about changing a color, saturation is the intensity of a color, and luminance is the brightness or darkness of a given color. So for this, I just want the greens to pop in the background. So I'll just come the hues and make the greens towards the aqua side just like this. And you can see it makes the greens pop a little bit more. Then I'll play around with the yellow slider to see what works best for me. So about that is okay. Then I'll come to the blues because I want her outfit to slightly match her hair. So for this, I'll simply come to the blues and I make the blues towards the purple side, and you can see by just doing this, they are now looking okay and similar. Then I'll come to the saturation. Since the greens are oversaturated, I'll simply come to the greens or the saturation of the greens, and I slightly desaturate the greens like this to around this area, and I can do the same for the yellows slightly. Then I'll simply come to luminance and I darken this outfit just like this so they can have the same color with the hair. So after doing this, the next step is simply going to be clicking on open in order to open the photo in Photoshop for us to do the next adjustments like the skin retouching and other adjustments on this image. So for this, we are going to first of all do the skin retouching using frequency separation by simply coming to the background layer and pressing Ctrl J, or you can use Command J. So I'm just going to name that to color and name the upper layer to texture. And after renaming these two layers, I'll simply come to the color layer and select it. So select the color layer, and after selecting the color layer, we only want to remain with the colors in the color layer. So color layer is selected and turn off the texture layer. We are simply going to come to filter, blur, come to Gaussian blur. And for the Gaussian blur, take the radius slider down and click on an area on the skin that you feel has more skin details and zoom in to see that perfectly. Then blur away the details from the skin. So blur away the skin textures and stop at the point whereby the textures are just going to disappear from the skin. Click OK. Come to the texture layer, select it or activate it. Then come to image, apply image. So for apply image, we are editing a 16-bit image. So the source is the name of the photo. Under layer, select the color layer. Blending has to be add. The scale is to offset 0. Make sure opacity is 100%. Preserve transparency and mask are not checked. And simply click on invert, and you see this gray layer that is containing the details or the textures of the image, and click OK. In case you're editing an 8-bit image, these are settings that you have to use. Under blending, it is subtract. The scale is to offset 128 and invert is not checked, and you'll have the same result. So mine is 16-bit because I have 16 right there. Then I'll revert the settings to 16-bit settings. Click OK. Change the blend mode from normal and change it all the way down to linear light, and select both layers. Then press Ctrl G, or you can use Command G on the keyboard. Command G to group these two layers. Open up the group and select the color layer. Then you're going to come to the brushes and get the mixer brush tool. And for the settings of the mixer brush tool, make sure the hardness set to 0. Soft round brush is selected. Then clean brush is selected. And the second option that says clean brush after each stroke is also selected. With the weight of 9%, load 75, mix 90, flat 100%, make sure sample all layers is not turned on or is not checked. So for this, we are simply going to come and hide or turn off the texture layer and start blending the skin tones. So to blend the skin tones, we are simply going to ensure that we have a relatively small brush. And for this step, don't zoom all the way in, because when you zoom all the way in, you can't see the uneven skin tone transition. So it is going to be time to blend the skin color or skin tone. Mix the highlights alone, the midtones alone, and the shadows alone in your photo or in your image. So don't zoom all the way in, like I said. So how to blend? Simply click and hold down and ensure to play around with different sizes of the mixer brush tool, and you can increase or reduce on the size of the mixer brush tool by using the open and close square bracket keys on the keyboard to play around with different sizes. You mix tones that are looking alike in a given area. Mix the highlights alone, the midtones alone, and also the shadows alone to create a smooth transition, and in that way the skin is going to look smooth after the end of the process. So I'm just going to quickly work on the model skin like this. So you can see by just doing this, we are having even skin tones. So you can see on the back area, I'll mix the shadows alone and mix these midtones in this area alone like that. So I'll blend like this easily and quickly. And you can see when you don't zoom all the way in, you take less time trying to blend or to brush on a given area. So for a smaller area, slightly zoom in and reduce on the size of the brush, and you blend the dark areas, then the bright areas. So you click and blend a given color, and after blending that color, you click once again on a new color and you try to blend it once again. So I'll mix those areas just like that. And where a color is transitioning from one color to another, just get a very tiny brush and you blend that transition so that they can blend in well or they can merge better. So for this step, you're trying to even the skin tone transitions of the model's skin. So I hope you can see what we have been able to achieve by just using the mixer brush tool in some few and specific areas regarding this very photo or regarding this very image. So after blending using the mixer brush tool, it is going to be time to remove the pimples or skin imperfections from the model skin. So how are we going to remove these pimples or skin imperfections? We are simply going to come and select the texture layer and now activate it. So you can see before and after for just using the mixer brush tool. Select the texture layer, come and get the clone stamp tool, and for settings the hardness set to 0, the mode is normal, opacity and the flat 100%, align is checked, and the sample is set to current layer because we want to remove pimples or blemishes that are part of the currently selected layer, which is the texture layer. So shall zoom in by using command plus or control plus. For example, to remove this little scar, hold down the option key on the keyboard and click on a clean area near the pimple or the blemish that you want to remove, and release the option button and click once again over the pimple or the blemish to cover or eliminate that pimple or that scar or blemish in that given area. So I'll try to remove all these tiny imperfections from her skin. So after removing all the skin imperfections from the model skin, it is time to create even skin color or even skin tone. So we are done with the skin retouching. This is a before, after, before, after. Let me zoom in so that you can see it better. So this is the image before, after, before, after. So after working on the skin, it is time to work on the skin color or the skin tone. So create a merged layer for everything that you have done below by pressing Shift Option Command E, Shift Alternate Control E, then come to Select, come to Subject, so that Photoshop can automatically help us select the edges of the subject. And you can see it has done a pretty good job, but it has left out this area. So for this area that has not been selected, get the quick selection tool. It is on the new or the plus or addition icon, and add this area to the active selection. So after doing this, you can see it didn't select some area at the back of the subject, just like that. So click or keep on clicking up to when you feel like every single area regarding her skin has been selected. So after this, we're just going to create another layer by coming right here and creating a new layer and changing the blend mode from normal and change it all the way down to color. Then come to the brushes, get the normal brush tool, and for the settings, make sure hardness set to 0, soft round brush is selected. The mode is normal opacity at 100%, flat 100%. We are simply going to come and we sample an area on the model's skin. So which area would we want the rest of the skin of the subject to look like? So I'll sample from the face. Hold down the option key on the keyboard, option and click to sample a given color. And after sampling that color, it is time to paint the skin. So don't mind in case the color is looking oversaturated because we have to correct this color later on. So just quickly paint. And the reason that's why we selected the subject is because we don't want color to spill to the background areas, and we just want to limit the color to the model's skin or to the model's body and not paint it on the background. So I'll quickly paint right here on the model's skin just like this. So take your time as you're doing all this because you always have to be very careful regarding editing photos. But for my case, I'm just trying to rush through the process of this so that the tutorial is not a lengthy one. So, and in case you're finding value from this video, I request that you hit the like button on the video and don't forget to subscribe. So benefit as the channel also is benefiting in the process. So I'll paint quickly like that, and you can see right now the skin is now tending to look better and look a little bit more uniform. So I'll come to the top part of the body, that is for the face area or the facial area, and I'll also paint on it. So don't leave any area regarding skin tones and ensure that every area has been painted. Don't paint in the makeup area because you don't want to change or distort the original color of the makeup or the original makeup that was applied onto your model's or subject's skin. So I'll paint just like that. So I'll come to this part of the hand and carefully paint using a very small brush. So in case you have made errors or mistakes in given or particular areas, the next step is about correcting those mistakes or errors in those particular areas. So press Ctrl D, or you can use Command D to deselect the active selection. Ctrl D, or you can use Command D to deselect the active selection. And after deselecting the active selection, we are simply going to come and get the eraser tool and make sure the mode is set to brush, opacity at 100%, flat 100%. And I'm just going to come and use the eraser tool to rub away or erase the areas that I did not want to paint in the first place, like this area of her outfit, to reveal back the original color. So we are using the eraser tool to rub away or erase colors from particular area. So in case you did not paint a given area, for example that area of the back, simply press B for the brush. So B and paint once again in those areas. So I'll simply come to her teeth, get the eraser tool and simply erase it from that area of her teeth and some area of the eyes. So after we have done this, so just get the brush and paint once again in this particular area because I feel like it wasn't painted well. So E for the eraser tool and erase it from that area. So after painting on the skin, it's time to make the skin tone look a little bit natural and realistic. So just come to the opacity and reduce on the opacity of the color grading to around 77. And in case the skin is looking too orange still, come and create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Come to master, select the reds and simply scroll down to the lightness and take down the lightness of the reds in the hue and saturation. Then you're simply going to come and create a black and white adjustment layer to reduce on the oranges, especially within the skin tone, and change the blend mode from normal to multiply. Come the opacity and reduce on the opacity just like this. So in case it is still looking orange or too orange, ensure to double click on the hue and saturation adjustment layer or the icon, make sure it is selected, then come to the reds and simply take this down or lower in case it is too much. So in case the skin is looking too reddish for your liking, ensure to come to the hue option and play around with the hues just like this, and you can either increase on or make the reds a little bit more on the yellow side. So right now I feel like about this step we are okay. So let's give the image a little bit of pop. So you're just going to come and create a levels adjustment layer. So come to levels and simply scroll and move the black point in just like this. Hold on the option key on the keyboard and move in the black point until when the blacks are a little bit showing the red color. Then also do the same for the white point and stop at the point whereby the whites are just starting to get that kind of reddish color. So you can say before after the image is now popping. So you're going to come and play around with the colors in the image by coming to selective color and simply targeting the blacks and coming to the science end just to create this kind of cinematic vibe added to the blacks of this very image. So you can see the before after. It has even reduced on the amount of red color cast in the background. So after this, you're simply going to do a little bit of eye whitening by coming to hue and saturation, coming to master and simply taking down the saturation of the master and pressing Ctrl I, or you can use Command I on the keyboard. Then you're going to come and get the brush tool. The mode is normal, opacity in the flat 100%, and ensure that you have black and white on these two color swatches. So in case you don't have black and white, simply press D on the keyboard to reset the color swatches to black and white. So after this, reduce on the size of the brush and zoom all the way in by using Command plus and paint in the white area of the eye. And you can even use the same method or technique to do teeth whitening. So after doing the eye and teeth whitening, it is time to enhance the image to look even better. So in order to enhance this very image to look better, we are simply going to come and create skin glow or skin shine by coming to adjustments, create a curves adjustment layer, then scroll down and click on this bright pointer or the right hand pointer and drag it towards the left hand side and stop at the point whereby the highlights on the image are overexposed, especially on the skin tone. Right click on the curves layer and come to blending options. So for blending options, we are simply going to come to blend if measure it is set to gray. Come to where you see underlying layer and click and drag this from affecting the shadow areas and stop at the point whereby only the skin highlights are being affected. In this case, I feel like that is okay. Yeah, I feel like this point is okay. And for effect to blend better into the skin, hold down the option key on the keyboard, alternate for windows, then simply click on this pointer on the right hand side and move it towards the right hand side. And you can see the effect is going to blend into the skin. So just blend it more into the skin. So after this, you can click OK and change the blend mode from normal to linear dodge to enhance the effect. And after that, just come the opacity and reduce on the opacity of the skin glow and press Ctrl I, or you can use Command I on the keyboard to invert the effect and get the brush tool. White is the foreground color, opacity of the brush and the flow is 100%, and simply paint on the areas that you feel should have this beautiful skin glow or skin shine. So I'll paint like that in those particular areas. So in case the effect is too much or it looks a little bit unnatural for your liking, simply calm the opacity and reduce it even more so that it can look natural and realistic. You can say before, after, before, after. So this is what we have been able to achieve in this very simple and easy to follow kind of tutorial. So in case you want to remove these distractions, create a stamp visible layer by pressing Shift Option Command E, Shift Alternate Control E on the keyboard, and simply come and get the Spot Healing Brush tool. Make sure the mode is normal and content aware is selected, and simply dab over this stand just like that to eliminate it. and you can see it does a pretty great job. And for the softbox, you can come and use the patch tool instead, and you draw tiny areas around it and you drag. So draw around it and drag it to a cleaner area to replace it or to eliminate it. So sometimes it may produce good results and sometimes it may not be able to produce the most perfect results. So I'll try to remove that tree in the background since it is a little bit destructive. So you can see that we have just removed that distraction. So you can see the before and after. So after this, let me show the overall before and after for the editing of this very image. So this is the image before, after, before, after. So after editing, simply save the image. So you simply come to file, export, and come to export as. So when you come to export as, it's going to open up the export as window right here. And under format, make sure it is set to JPEG, quality is to the maximum, which is 7 for this case, because we want the highest quality of this very image to be saved. Under resample, make sure it is set to bicubic sharper, and color space has to be set to convert to sRGB, and embed color profile must be checked, and click on export in order to save or export this very image and choose where you want to save the image. So this is how you can edit a photo in Photoshop from the very start to the very end. And in case you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video and don't forget to subscribe if at all you have been watching and you are not yet subscribed to this channel. Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in more videos on this channel. Don't forget to keep practicing and as well keep creating.